Hmm. Hey there, sleepyhead. Welcome to another quiet night here at Snooze Fest Sports. I'm your host, Coach Snooze, and tonight I'll be tucking you in with a soft, slow stroll through some of the biggest, most lopsided blowouts in NBA history. Don't worry, there's no buzzer beaters here. No last-minute drama, and no fast breaks. Just gentle rhythms, big score differences, and a cozy corner of basketball history to help your mind drift and your body rest. So close your eyes, settle in, maybe pull that blanket a little tighter, and let's take a nice, easy walk down the hardwood lane where the lights are dim, the sneakers barely squeak, and the scoreboard, well, it's not even close. This is Snooze Fest Sports, and I'm Coach Snooze. Let's begin. December 7th, 2021. A peaceful winter evening, and inside the FedEx Forum, the Memphis Grizzlies quietly made history. They played as one. Let's gently drift through some of the numbers from that night. For Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr. led with 27 soft, steady points. DeAnthony Melton calmly added 19. John Conchar collected 10 rebounds and contributed 17 points. And Santi Aldama added 18 points to the quiet rhythm. For Oklahoma City, Luguentz Dort finished with 15 points. Ty Jerome added 12. Trey Mann also with 12. And Mike Muscala added 4. As the game softly unfolded, Memphis reached 152 points, while Oklahoma City closed at 79. A 73-point difference, the widest margin in NBA history. 152 to 79. And now, we take a slow, deep breath and gently float to the next story. Another peaceful chapter in the book of NBA blowouts. Now, we drift back to February 27th, 1998. A cool winter night in Indianapolis. The Indiana Pacers hosted the Portland Trail Blazers, and what followed was one of the most gentle, one-sided games the NBA has ever seen. From the opening tip, the Pacers moved like calm waters, smooth passes, soft shots, and easy rhythm. Portland tried to answer, but nothing seemed to fall. The Pacers found balance on offense and defense, gliding through possessions as the lead slowly, quietly expanded. There was no urgency, no drama, just a peaceful, steady pulling away. By the final buzzer, the Pacers had scored 124. The Trailblazers had only 59. A margin of 65 points. At that time, it was the largest margin in league history. 124 to 59. And now, before we drift a little deeper, let's softly visit the numbers from that night. For Indiana, Reggie Miller, 14 points, with his smooth, effortless stroke. Rick Smits, 12 points, in the paint, gentle hook shots floating in. Mark Jackson, 18 points and 7 assists, guiding the flow. Dale Davis, 10 points and quiet, steady defense. For Portland, Isaiah Ryder, 14 points. Rasheed Wallace, 10 points. Arvydas Sabonis, 9 points, battling in the post. Brian Grant, 7 points. 124 to 59. A calm, quiet memory from the world of NBA blowouts. Now, we softly glide to our next chapter. Now we drift to a more recent evening, November 28th, 2023. The Boston Celtics hosted the Chicago Bulls inside the warm glow of TD Garden. The crowd settled in, and from the opening tip, the Celtics found their rhythm. Shots falling softly, passes moving gracefully, the offense flowing like a gentle breeze. The Bulls fought early, but as the game unfolded, Boston slowly, quietly pulled away. No frantic pace, no wild runs, just steady, calming control. By the time the final horn sounded, the Celtics had 124, the Bulls 97. A quiet 27-point win on a peaceful November night. And now, before we drift deeper, let's softly visit the numbers from that game. For Boston, Jason Tatum, 21 points. Jaylen Brown, 30 points. Derek White, 15 points. Kristaps Porzingis, 14 points. For Chicago, DeMar DeRozan, 19 points. Zach LaVine, 20 points. Nikola Vucevic, 14 points. Kobe White, 19 points. 124 to 97. Another soft chapter in the quiet world of NBA blowouts. Now we drift gently forward to the next sleepy story. Let's softly wander through what happens during one of those long slow NBA blowouts. You see, a blowout isn't exciting or loud or tense. No, it's slow, quiet, and, in its own way, kind of peaceful. The scoreboard slowly spreads apart, point by point, quarter by quarter. The players feel it first. The team that's losing starts to glance at the clock a little more often. They run their plays, but the shots, they just don't fall. The defense softens, the passes get a little slower, the bodies feel a little heavier. The coaches, well, the coaches know. On one side, you've got the winning coach, calmly crossing his arms, glancing down the bench, planning rotations, maybe giving the young players a little extra run. On the losing side, the coach mostly watches, quietly pacing, sometimes staring into space, just waiting for that clock to run out. The bench players, they know too. The backups, the third stringers, they start to warm up, stretch a little, waiting for their moment to check in. They know they'll get a few minutes tonight. Garbage time, some people call it. But even garbage time can feel kinda nice. Less pressure, less intensity. Just simple basketball under soft arena lights. Now the fans, they feel it too. On one side, the home fans smile. Some leaning back in their seats, relaxed, cheering for every little highlight, every dunk, every fast break. It feels easy now. On the other side, the visiting fans grow quiet. Some head to the exits early, beating traffic, knowing this game is gently slipped away. The arena even feels different. The energy softens. The PA announcer's voice feels lighter. The music feels a little softer between plays. The players jog, but no longer sprint. Timeouts are calm. Substitutions, routine. And as the minutes drift by, the score continues to grow. Maybe 20 points, 30, sometimes even more. Now we softly float to March 9th, 2023, inside the FedEx Forum in Memphis. The Memphis Grizzlies hosted the Golden State Warriors in what would become a quiet, comfortable win for the home team. From the beginning, the Grizzlies found their flow, smooth ball movement, calm confidence, and a steady pace. The Warriors struggled with turnovers early, 17 turnovers, softly slipping the ball back to Memphis, possession after possession. The Grizzlies took advantage. They shot 53%, calmly hitting 15 three-pointers while sharing the ball with 32 assists. On the other side, Golden State shot just 37% from deep and couldn't quite find their rhythm. The lead quietly grew, and by the final buzzer, the Grizzlies had scored 131, the Warriors 110. A gentle 21-point win, but a steady, calm control from start to finish. And now, let's gently visit the numbers from that night. For Memphis, Tyus Jones, 22 points, 11 assists, 5 steals. Memphis, Desmond Bane, 21 points. Jaren Jackson Jr., 21 points, 9 rebounds. Dylan Brooks, 14 points. For Golden State, Stephen Curry, 29 points. Klay Thompson, 14 points. Jordan Poole, 22 points. Jonathan Kuminga, 13 points. 131 to 110. And now, we gently drift forward to our next sleepy story. Gently drift to March 21st, 2023. The Boston Celtics traveled west to visit the Sacramento Kings under the calm California night sky. From the opening tip, the Celtics moved with quiet confidence, their passes smooth and unhurried, their shots soft, like rain falling on glass. Boston found its rhythm early and often. The Kings searched for answers, but struggled to hold on to the ball. 14 turnovers, gently returning possession back to the Celtics' steady hands. The Celtics shared the ball beautifully, recording 33 assists, each play flowing like a calm stream. Their shots landed softly 18 times from beyond the arc, a quiet rain of three-pointers. The Kings tried to stay close, but the gap slowly widened. Each minute, the Celtics pulled further ahead, without rushing, without forcing, just steady control. And when the final buzzer echoed softly, Boston had tallied 132 points. Sacramento finished with 109, a gentle 23-point difference, peacefully written into the story of the season. And now, as we rest a little deeper, let's quietly visit the numbers from that evening. For Boston, Jason Tatum, 36 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Jaylen Brown, 27 points, 5 assists. Derek White, 20 points. Malcolm Brogdon, 12 points, 8 assists. For Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox, 18 points. Domantas Sabonis, 16 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists. Kevin Huerter, 15 points. Harrison Barnes, 18 points. 132 to 109. And now we slowly drift to the next chapter of our sleepy basketball journey. Quietly drift to February 25th, 2023. Inside Ball Arena, the Denver Nuggets welcomed the Memphis Grizzlies. The arena lights softly glowed as both teams took the floor. From the very start, the Nuggets moved with calm purpose. Their passes glided gently from hand to hand, finding open shots without hurry. The Grizzlies struggled to find rhythm. Shots bounced softly off the rim and turnovers quietly piled up. The Nuggets shot 51% from the field and calmly connected on 11 three-pointers. Memphis committed 16 turnovers, each one softly handing the ball back to Denver's patient offense. Denver's defense stood quietly strong, holding the Grizzlies to just 43% shooting. As the minutes ticked by, the lead grew without drama, without urgency. When the final buzzer sounded, the Nuggets had scored 113. The Grizzlies finished with 97. A gentle 16-point win softly added to the season's story. Now, let's gently visit the numbers from that peaceful evening. For Denver, Nikola Jokic, 18 points, 18 rebounds, 10 assists, another triple-double. Michael Porter Jr., 26 points. Jamal Murray, 22 points. Aaron Gordon, 10 points, 7 rebounds. For Memphis, Ja Morant, 27 points, 10 assists. Desmond Bane, 19 points. Jaren Jackson Jr., 15 points, 5 rebounds. Dylan Brooks, 8 points. 113 to 97. And now we drift softly forward. We gently drift back to December 15th, 2021. The warm lights of Milwaukee's Fiserv Forum. The Bucks welcomed the Miami Heat for what would become a quiet, steady display of control. From the very first possession, the Bucks moved with calm rhythm, their passes soft and simple, their shots falling like gentle raindrops. Giannis Antetokounmpo glided through the lane, while the Bucks' shooters found open space along the arc. The Heat tried to stay close, but struggled to find their footing. They turned the ball over 16 times, softly handing possession back again and again. Milwaukee shot 54% from the field and calmly knocked down 17 three-pointers. Their offense flowed like a steady river. The lead gently expanded with each passing quarter, and when the final buzzer sounded, Milwaukee had tallied 124 points, while Miami rested at 102. A quiet 22-point win, written softly into the season's story. Now, let's slowly visit the numbers from that peaceful night. For Milwaukee, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Chris Middleton, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Jrue Holiday, 16 points, 6 assists. Bobby Portis, 19 points, 12 rebounds. For Miami, Kyle Lowry, 17 points, 6 assists. Duncan Robinson, 15 points. Gabe Vincent, 14 points. Dwayne Dedmon, 11 points, 5 rebounds. 124 to 102. Now we drift gently onward to the next sleepy chapter. Sometimes when I think about blowouts, it takes me back to one particular night, many, many years ago. It was way back during the days of the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, those fellas. Now, I was a much younger man back then. Still had a little pep in my step. Not like now, where I sit here telling these sleepy stories to you. But this night was different. I was invited to sit courtside at a Bulls game against the Lakers. Now, you would think, oh, Bulls versus Lakers, that sounds exciting, sounds like a good battle. But it wasn't. No. The Bulls came out strong right from the start. Michael was floating through the air, hitting jumper after jumper. Scotty was gliding down the court, finding open teammates. The Lakers, they just couldn't keep up. By halftime, I looked up at that scoreboard, and it was already a 25-point lead. And you could feel it right there in the building. The crowd was happy, but almost too relaxed. You know what I mean? Like when you know how the movie's gonna end, and you're just coasting to the credits. I remember sipping my little cup of hot cocoa, sitting there in that cold arena, watching Michael go to work. And you know, after the third quarter, Coach Phil Jackson pulled most of the starters. Michael sat back on the bench, put a towel over his shoulders, and just watched the rest unfold. I could see him smiling, laughing with his teammates, even joking around with Scotty. The Lakers, well, they looked like they just wanted to go home. They were jogging, taking quick shots, turning it over. Nothing was falling for them. And you know, when you're sitting there in the middle of a blowout like that, time feels different. The game slows down. The crowd quiets. You hear the soft sounds, the squeak of sneakers, the swish of the net, the gentle bounce of the ball. It all just lulls. We float to August 23rd, 2020. Inside the quiet stillness of the NBA bubble in Orlando, the Dallas Mavericks faced the Los Angeles Clippers in what would become one of the most one-sided playoff games ever recorded. From the very beginning, the Mavericks moved like calm waves. Smooth passes, open shots, quiet confidence. The Clippers struggled early. Missed shots, miscommunications, and turnovers softly piling up like grains of sand. At halftime, the Mavericks already led by 27. And as the second half unfolded, the lead quietly grew larger. The Clippers finished the game shooting just 38%. They made only 4 of their 33 three-point attempts, just 12% from deep. Their usual rhythm simply missing. The turnovers slowly added up. 18 total turnovers for the Clippers, each one gently swinging momentum back to Dallas. Meanwhile, the Mavericks shot 53% and calmly hit 14 three-pointers. The Mavericks shared the ball beautifully, recording 23 assists, a gentle, steady team performance. As the final buzzer echoed softly, The score read Dallas Mavericks 124, Los Angeles Clippers 73. A margin of 51 points. The largest playoff blowout in NBA history. And now, before we drift deeper, let's softly visit the numbers from that night. For Dallas, Luka Doncic, 24 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. Kristaps Porzingis, 20 points, 8 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr., 21 points, 5 three-pointers. Trey Burke, 15 points, 3 steals. For Los Angeles, Paul George, 15 points. Kawhi Leonard did not play. Marcus Morris, 9 points. Ivica Zubac, 6 points, 5 rebounds. 124-73. A soft memory of calm dominance inside the bubble. And now we drift onward to our next sleepy chapter. Sometimes the blowouts aren't the only ones that make you sleepy. Sometimes the long games do it too. I still remember, many years ago, sitting inside a quiet arena, watching a game that just kept going. It was one of those rare nights where the teams couldn't seem to separate. Every time the buzzer sounded, they were tied. First overtime, second overtime, third overtime, and yes, even a fourth. By the time we got to the third extra period, you could feel it in the building. The energy was still there, but softer. The fans, they were tired. Some leaned forward in their seats. Others leaned back. A few folks even closed their eyes for a moment. The players, they were moving slower too. The jumpers had a little less lift. The cuts were a little softer. The ball kept bouncing. The clock kept ticking. I remember watching the poor big men sweating through their jerseys, hands on their knees between plays, just trying to catch their breath. The coaches, they barely had anyone left to substitute. Starters were fouled out. Bench players were logging career-high minutes. Even the referees started looking up at the clock, wondering when this one would finally end. The broadcasters started running out of things to say. They talked about old stories, player stats, even read the upcoming schedule aloud, just filling the air. The arena popcorn machines had long been shut off. The hot dog stands were empty. Even the janitors started quietly standing along the tunnels, waiting to begin cleaning up when it was finally done. And eventually, after hours of back and forth, one team finally pulled ahead. By then, it wasn't about winning or losing anymore. It was about finishing. The final horn sounded, the few remaining fans clapped softly. The players slowly shook hands, like two tired boxers leaning on each other after the last round. I stepped outside that night. The cold air felt extra refreshing after sitting inside for so long. And as I walked home, I remember thinking, sometimes these long games are like life. This one might sound familiar. I was younger back then, but even then, I was known for dozing off. You see, sometimes these games, they start a little late. And that night, it was one of those national TV games, the kind that tip off after 8:30 p.m. I had my seat, nice and cozy, in the upper level, had my soft pretzel, my little cup of hot tea, sat back, and let the game begin. The first quarter, it started fast. Both teams running up and down, the crowd cheering, the music playing. But somewhere, around the middle of the second quarter, the game slowed down. The defense tightened. The whistles blew more often. The possessions dragged on. And I leaned back, closed my eyes just for a moment. The warm lights above, the soft hum of the arena, the rhythmic bounce of the ball, all started blending together like a lullaby. Before I knew it, I had nodded off. Right there, during halftime. I don't know how long I was out. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe more. But I woke up gently, just as the third quarter was starting. The score had barely changed. The arena had quieted. The crowd was comfortable, settling into the second half. It almost felt like the game had waited for me. Sometimes basketball can be exciting, but sometimes it can be a perfect little place to take a nap. And now, as you listen to my rambling old stories, you might just feel the same way. Now we drift just a little deeper. You know, not every game I've been to goes quite the way you expect. Sometimes the most boring nights become the ones you remember most. Let me tell you about this one particular night, years ago, when I went to see a game that, well, barely even finished. It was winter time, cold outside. That kind of cold where your breath floats in front of you like a little ghost. I bundled up, big jacket, thick scarf, and made my way downtown. The arena was warm, though, that's the nice part. Inside, it's always warm. The crowd was settling in, folks grabbing their popcorn, getting drinks. Some kids were waving for autographs. The band was playing softly, just that steady arena hum. The game started off slow. Neither team really had much energy that night. Missed shots, bad passes, lots of whistles. You could feel it in the building. Folks were a little bored, but we were there, and sometimes that's enough. Now, somewhere early in the second quarter, just as one of the teams was taking free throws, everything went dark. The power went out. The lights above us, one by one, softly clicked off. The giant scoreboard went blank. The music stopped. The announcer's mic cut out, and for a moment, all you could hear was the quiet little murmur of the crowd. At first, folks thought it was just a momentary glitch, one of those quick flickers, but it stayed out. Now, luckily, the emergency lights kicked in, soft glow along the aisles, little orange lights blinking along the exits. It was peaceful, almost like candlelight. You could see some players just standing still, stretching, smiling a little. The referees were huddled up, the coaches quietly talking with the officials. Nobody was panicking. Nobody rushed. It was all very calm. The fans sat in their seats, whispering, checking their phones. Some folks even using the glow of their screens to light up their kids' faces. I leaned back, rested my head against the seat, and just listened to the soft hum of the backup generators. It was almost kind of nice. The PA system crackled, and the arena softly came back to life. The players lightly jogged to warm back up. They restarted the clock. The game picked back up like nothing had happened. But even after that, the vibe was different. It was even sleepier than before. The teams looked sluggish. The crowd was quieter. Even the commentators. You could hear it in their voices, that soft, tired tone. The game finished. No drama, no buzzer beaters, just a slow, final few minutes, and then the horn. I walked out of the arena into the chilly night, and you know something? I barely remembered the score. What I remembered was how peaceful it all felt. Sitting there in the quiet, under those dim backup lights, just listening, waiting, breathing. Sometimes it's not about the basketball. It's about sitting still, letting life happen around you, and being okay with the quiet. And now, as you listen to my rambling story, you may feel that same stillness washing over you, helping you drift just a little deeper. Now we drift to December 17th, 2021. The Cleveland Cavaliers hosted the Miami Heat inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on a chilly December night. The Cavs found their rhythm early, calm passing, soft jumpers falling, while the Heat struggled to keep pace. Cleveland shot 55% and calmly hit 16 three-pointers, moving the ball for 31 assists. Miami, meanwhile, turned the ball over 15 times, their shots softly missing the mark. As the game gently unfolded, the lead stretched wider until the Cavs finished with 119 points while the Heat rested at 90. A quiet 29-point win on a peaceful winter evening. For Cleveland, Darius Garland, 16 points, 10 assists. Kevin Love, 23 points, 9 rebounds. Jarrett Allen, 17 points, 8 rebounds. Evan Mobley, 17 points, 5 assists. For Miami, Kyle Lowry, 22 points. Duncan Robinson, 14 points. Max Strus, 11 points. Gabe Vincent, 11 points. 119 to 90. Now we drift to the next sleepy chapter. know, sometimes the story happens before you even get to the game. I remember one night, many years ago, I was heading out to see a big game downtown, the kind of night where the lights shine bright, the fans are buzzing, and you can smell the soft scent of popcorn floating through the cold winter air. It was one of those special matchups, the Bulls playing against the Lakers. Back then, the Bulls had Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and young Lonzo Ball running the offense. The Lakers, they had LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook bringing the energy. I was excited, no doubt. Two big teams, plenty of star power on the court. Everybody in town had been talking about it for days. I even pulled out my old Bulls jacket for the night, red and black, warm, comfortable, perfect for a cold Chicago evening. The streets downtown were packed, people making their way toward the arena. I could see folks wearing jerseys everywhere, Bulls fans with their number 23 Jordan jerseys, some rocking fresh LaVine and DeRozan ones, and a few kids in LeBron Lakers purple and gold, walking with their parents, smiling. But that night, something strange happened. I got lost. You see, back in those days, I didn't have a fancy GPS, no smartphone guiding my way, just a paper ticket and my old memory. I parked a few blocks away like I always did, but somehow I turned the wrong corner. The streets were quiet. The wind was blowing gently, and as I walked, I realized I wasn't where I thought I was. I looked up at the tall buildings, the city lights blinking softly, the hum of distant traffic filling the air, horns beeping gently like little sleepy notes. I wandered a little more, thinking I'd recognize something familiar, but the arena lights weren't anywhere to be seen. I wasn't worried, though. It was kind of peaceful, honestly. The streets were mostly empty. Picked up a warm cup of cocoa. Let the steam rise up in front of my face. The man at the cart, an older fellow with thick gloves and a kind smile, asked where I was heading. I told him, I'm trying to find my way to the arena. Bulls versus Lakers tonight. He chuckled softly. You're almost there, friend. Just keep heading east 2 more blocks, then hang a left. You'll see the big red lights. And sure enough, after another short walk, the bright glow of the United Center finally appeared. The giant Bulls logo spinning above the entrance. Red neon lights blinking gently. The music, the voices, the soft roar of the crowd floating out into the night air. Security was moving folks through quickly. I scanned my paper ticket and walked through the warm doors into the arena. Inside, the vibe was electric, but somehow still cozy. The smell of buttery popcorn filled the air. I could hear the ball bouncing softly during timeouts, the PA announcer calling out subs, and kids in the crowd waving foam fingers up in the air. I made it to my seat, right before halftime. The scoreboard flashed. Bulls 59, Lakers 48. The second half went by peacefully. I watched DeRozan hit that smooth fadeaway jumper, saw Caruso dive on the floor for a loose ball, and LeBron quietly doing his thing on the other end, spinning to the rim like only he can. But to be honest, I don't remember much of the final score. What I remember was the slow walk, the quiet streets, the tall buildings gently blinking above me, the steam from that warm cocoa swirling in the air, and the feeling of being part of something bigger. Sometimes, the quiet parts of the night stay with you longer than the action on the court. Just like now, as we drift together into soft, peaceful rest. Gently float to August 23rd, 2020, inside the quiet stillness of the NBA bubble in Orlando. The Dallas Mavericks faced the Los Angeles Clippers in what would become the largest playoff blowout in NBA history. From the opening tip, the Mavericks found their rhythm, smooth passes, open looks, and calm execution. Dallas shot 53% from the field and calmly knocked down 14 three-pointers. The Clippers struggled early and never quite found their balance. They committed 18 turnovers, each one softly slipping the ball back into Dallas' patient hands. The Mavericks shared the ball beautifully, recording 23 assists, while controlling every part of the game without rushing, without tension. The lead grew quietly until it became historic. When the final buzzer sounded, Dallas had scored 124, while Los Angeles finished with 73. A gentle 51-point win, peacefully written into playoff history. And now, we softly visit the numbers from that night. For Dallas, Luka Doncic, 24 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. Kristaps Porzingis, 20 points, 8 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr., 21 points. Trey Burke, 15 points, 3 steals. For Los Angeles, Paul George, 15 points. Marcus Morris, 9 points. Ivica Zubac, 6 points, 5 rebounds. Terrence Mann, 5 points. 124-73. And now, we softly drift forward to the next sleepy story. This was one of those nights. The New York Knicks were in town, playing the Atlanta Hawks at Madison Square Garden. The lights were bright, the garden was buzzing, but as soon as I sat down, I felt that familiar warmth wrap around me. The Knicks came out hot. Jalen Brunson was cooking early. He hit his first 5 shots, pull-up, mid-ranges, floaters in the lane, even a step-back 3. The Hawks' defense? Non-existent. By the end of the first quarter, the Knicks were up 37-16. Julius Randle was bullying down low. R.J. Barrett was slashing to the rim. Even Quentin Grimes hit back-to-back corner threes. The Hawks couldn't buy a bucket. Trae Young went 1 for 8 to start the game. DeJounte Murray had 3 turnovers before halftime. They shot just 29% from the field in the first half. By halftime, the Knicks led 68-34, a 34-point lead. The Garden crowd was electric, but me? I was sinking deeper into my seat. The rain outside was tapping softly on the windows. The sound of sneakers squeaking blended with the soft hum of the arena. Third quarter came. Isaiah Hartenstein blocked a lob attempt from Clint Capella. Josh Hart grabbed his 12th rebound, and the lead ballooned to 40. The Hawks had 17 turnovers by the start of the fourth quarter. Their starters were pulled early, and that's when my eyes started to close. I don't remember much after that. When I woke up, the final score was on the screen. Knicks 122, Hawks 72. A 50-point blowout. Field goal percentages: Knicks shot 57%. Hawks shot just 31%. Rebounds: Knicks 54, Hawks 33. Turnovers: Hawks 22 total. Sometimes the blowouts just rock you. Some blowouts, they just get out of hand before you even finish your popcorn. I remember this one clear as day, because it wasn't just a blowout, it was history. It was December 17th, 1991. Cleveland Cavaliers hosting the Miami Heat at the Richfield Coliseum. The crowd settled in, expecting a regular game. But what they got was one of the biggest blowouts in NBA history. The Cavs started the game on fire. Mark Price, smooth as ever, dropping dimes, knocking down threes. Brad Daugherty was dominating inside. Larry Nance was swatting shots like they were mosquitoes. First quarter, the Cavs jumped out to a 20-point lead. Score 38-18. The Heat? Well, they just couldn't get anything going. They shot a miserable 6 for 20 in that opening frame. Turnovers, bad shots, bricks clanking off the rim. Second quarter, things got even uglier. The Cavaliers put up 42 points in the second alone, while Miami managed just 13. At halftime, the score read 80-31. That's not a typo. The Cavs were shooting 66% from the field. The Heat, barely 30%. The Heat were simply overwhelmed. Their leading scorer that night, Glenn Rice, only managed 12 points total. Rony Seikaly, their big man, had 8 points and 5 turnovers. Steve Smith, their rookie, struggled all night, finishing with just 6 points. Meanwhile, the Cavs were playing basketball poetry. Mark Price had 18 points and 11 assists. Brad Daugherty chipped in 17 points, 9 rebounds. Larry Nance had 16 points with 7 boards and 3 blocks. Even John Hot Rod Williams came off the bench dropping 16. The Cavaliers' bench emptied early, and yet the lead kept growing. By the start of the fourth quarter, the score was 113-54. It was like the Heat were trapped in a nightmare they couldn't wake up from. The final buzzer. You know, sometimes even playoff games turn into sleepy blowouts. This one happened during the first round of the 2009 NBA playoffs, Game 4. The Denver Nuggets traveled down to New Orleans to face the Hornets. The series was already leaning Denver's way, but no one expected what was about to happen. The game started fast for Denver. Carmelo Anthony was locked in early. Smooth jumpers, strong drives, silky footwork. Chauncey Billups was controlling the tempo like a veteran conductor. The defense, smothering. First quarter, Denver jumped out to a quick lead, 36-15. New Orleans couldn't get comfortable. Chris Paul, their all-star point guard, was hounded all night. Second quarter, the Hornets tried to respond, but Denver kept the foot on the gas. At halftime, Denver 66, New Orleans 38, a 28-point lead already building. The Nuggets were shooting 59% from the field. The Hornets barely cracking 35%. And then the third quarter happened. Denver absolutely destroyed New Orleans in that frame. The Nuggets outscored the Hornets 33-12 in the third. The Hornets turned the ball over 6 times in just that quarter. Shots weren't even close. Wide open bricks, air balls, rushed floaters. Chris Paul finished the night with just 4 points. David West had 14, but most of those came early. Peja Stojakovic went 1 for 9 from the field. Meanwhile, Denver had everybody contributing. Carmelo Anthony, 26 points. J.R. Smith, 19 points off the bench. Nene, 13 points, 8 rebounds. Chauncey Billups, 17 points, 8 assists. By the time the third quarter was done, the score read 99-50. Denver led by 49 points entering the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was simply mop-up duty. Both teams emptied their benches. The arena felt like a... Sometimes you gotta go back to the old days, when even legends got blown out. March 19th, 1972, the Los Angeles Lakers against the Golden State Warriors at the Forum. Now, this wasn't just any Lakers team. This was that legendary 1972 squad. Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, and a deep roster locked in for a championship run. The game started like any other. The Warriors had some young talent. Nate Thurmond in the middle, Jeff Mullins on the wing, and rookie Rick Barry was still a year away. But that night, it didn't matter who was out there. First quarter, the Lakers dropped 40 points right out the gate. Jerry West was dropping dimes. Gail Goodrich was floating in mid-range jumpers like clockwork. Wilt Chamberlain snatching rebounds like apples off a tree. Score after one, 40-14. A 26-point lead right away. By halftime, the score was 74-33. A 41-point gap before the popcorn even cooled off. The Lakers were playing flawless basketball. Goodrich would finish with 30 points. Jerry West added 20 points and 13 assists. Wilt didn't even need to score much. He controlled the paint with 18 rebounds, 10 assists, and 8 points. Meanwhile, Golden State couldn't find the rim. They shot 32% from the field. Nate Thurmond had 10 points. But nobody else cracked double digits until garbage time. By the third quarter, the Lakers' bench came in, but the lead kept growing. The crowd at the Forum, electric. But me? I was slowly drifting off in the stands. The rhythmic sound of passes, the soft sneakers sliding across the court, and the scoreboard quietly ticking higher. The final score, 162-99, a 63-point victory. The Lakers shot a blistering 62% as a team. They finished with a then record 162 points. To this day, still one of the most dominant team performances in NBA history. Some blowouts aren't just blowouts, they're symphonies. And sometimes symphonies help you fall asleep just right.
You know, sometimes the best games aren't played under the bright lights of the NBA, but out there, under the sun, on the blacktop. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was just a young man back then, wandering through my neighborhood one warm Saturday morning. The birds were chirping. The breeze was cool, and I could smell somebody grilling nearby. I made my way down to the local park. You know the type. Old wooden backboards, rusty rims, nets half torn. A few kids shooting around. Some old heads talking trash on the sidelines. But that day, there was a new car parked near the court. A shiny black Cadillac with the top dropped down. And standing there with that big old smile on his face was none other than Magic Johnson. been starstruck like that before. Magic, one of the greatest to ever touch the basketball. The man who made Showtime run. But you know, Magic, always friendly. He waved me over like we was old friends. Hey, young fella, you hoop. I nodded, nervous, like a kid meeting Santa Claus. Next thing I know, he tosses me a ball and says, "Let's run one." We picked up a couple more guys from the park. 2 old-timers from the neighborhood joined us. And on the other side, well, let's just say, it was the park regulars. Big Mike, Lil D, Ricky, and Slim. Local legends in their own heads. The game was set. 4-on-4. First to 21. Win by 2. Magic took point guard, of course. I ran shooting guard. The Davis brothers handled the boards. From the first possession, I knew we was about to put on a clinic. Magic dribbled slow, reading the defense like a bedtime story. First play, no look, bounce pass, right to me, on the wing. Wide open jumper, splash, 1-0. The other team tried to respond.
You know, sometimes the 80s had some of the sleepiest blowouts you'll ever see. And this one right here, Seattle versus Houston, was one of those games. It was a chilly December night up in Seattle. The Supersonics were hosting the Rockets at the Kingdome. But what happened that night? Well, Houston never really showed up. The Sonics came out blazing right from the jump. Dale Ellis, man, was he cooking. Smooth jumper after smooth jumper. Mid-range, baseline, three-pointers. He had it all working. Tom Chambers, flying through the lane, catching lobs, finishing strong at the rim. Xavier McDaniel, beast mode in the paint, bodying up defenders, rebounding, pushing the tempo. The Rockets just couldn't buy a bucket. Akeem Olajuwon, back when he was still Akeem, was completely neutralized. The Sonics' defense collapsed on him every time he touched the ball. Blocked shots, stripped passes, double teams swarming him. First quarter, the Sonics led 32-17, already pulling away. Second quarter, the Sonics kept pushing. Fast breaks, easy layups, unselfish passing. The ball was moving like a symphony. At halftime, Seattle 68, Houston 32. A 36-point lead at the break. Houston shot just 28% from the field in the first half. The Sonics, a blistering 61%. Coming out of halftime, it got even worse. Seattle opened the third quarter with an 18 4-run. Dale Ellis continued his hot hand, finishing the night with 32 points. Chambers added 28 points, 8 rebounds. Xavier McDaniel chipped in 24 points, 10 rebounds, 4 steals. Even the Sonics bench got in on the action. Alton Lister blocked 5 shots. Nate McMillan dished out 13 assists. The crowd was loving it. But me? By mid-third quarter, I was already nodding off. The arena's hum was like a lullaby. The soft bounce of the ball, the steady rhythm of made baskets, the whistle blowing softly in the distance. You know, sometimes at the end of the season, when teams are already packing their bags, that's when some of the sleepiest games of all time sneak in. This one was one of those. It was April 10th, 2018, late in the season. The Miami Heat were hosting the Chicago Bulls down in South Florida. Now listen, the Bulls had long been eliminated from playoff contention. The Heat, they were still fighting for seeding in the Eastern Conference. And when the games started, well, Chicago looked like they were mentally already on vacation. First quarter, Miami came out hot. Hassan Whiteside dominated the paint. Rebounds, tip-ins, putbacks, controlling everything around the rim. Josh Richardson was knocking down jumpers. Tyler Johnson was running the offense smoothly. And Dwayne Wade, even though older at that point, still moving like a veteran, steady and composed. First quarter score? Miami 35, Chicago 13. A 22-point lead after just 12 minutes. The Bulls, they shot 5 for 22 in that opening frame, couldn't hit anything. Turnovers piling up, defensive rotations breaking down. Second quarter, it somehow got worse. Bam Adebayo came in off the bench, grabbing rebounds, running the floor, finishing at the rim. Miami's defense suffocated Chicago into long, ugly possessions. Every Bulls shot felt rushed, contested, or just plain off. At halftime, Miami 70, Chicago 36. A 34-point gap before anyone even finished their halftime popcorn. The Bulls' shooting percentage, just 31% at the half. Miami was hitting 58% of their shots. Third quarter, the Heat kept pouring it on. Wayne Ellington caught fire from deep. He finished with 7 made three-pointers that night. Kelly Olynyk contributed inside and outside, stretching Chicago's defense thin. The lead ballooned to 40 points midway through the third. Chicago couldn't stop anybody. Robin Lopez tried battling inside, but Whiteside kept controlling the boards. Zach LaVine was out. Jerian Grant couldn't get anything going from the perimeter. By the fourth quarter, both benches were fully emptied. It felt more like a summer league game than an NBA contest. The arena was quiet. Soft murmurs from the crowd. Rain starting to fall lightly outside the arena. You could hear the ball bouncing like a metronome. And me? Well, I was already leaned back in my seat, eyes heavy, slipping into dreamland. The final score? Miami Heat 115, Chicago Bulls 79. A 36-point blowout. Final stats? Heat shot 54% from the field. Bulls shot just 38%. Rebounds. Miami 54. You know, sometimes, even when you're coaching, the game just gets too peaceful to stay awake. I remember this one night, many years ago. We had a home game. I was coaching my squad, the Sleepytown Dreamers. We were facing our rivals, the Eastville Energizers. Now, all week long, I was expecting a close battle. Their team had talent, speed, athleticism, but, well, things don't always go as planned. Before the game started, I felt good. The arena was buzzing. The fans were filing in. Hot popcorn in the air. Soft breeze coming through the open side doors of that old gym. The first possession, we won the tip. Our point guard, little Jimmy, he dribbled right up, hit a quick pull-up jumper. 2-0. The Energizers came down, but they threw a lazy pass, stolen by our shooting guard Marcus. Fast break, easy layup. 4-0. That was just the beginning. Our defense that night? Locked in. Hands active. Feet sliding. We forced turnover after turnover. By the first time out, it was already 12-0. Their coach was pacing. Their players looked rattled. My boys, locked in. We came out of the timeout with full court pressure. Trap after trap, steals, fast break layups, 18-0. The crowd started murmuring, a few yawns in the stands already. The rhythm of the game felt cozy. Their first basket didn't come until 6 minutes into the first quarter. A free throw. 18-1. By the end of the first quarter, Dreamers 30, Energizers 4. We were cruising. Second quarter came, and my center, Big Tony, went to work inside. Hook shots, putbacks, soft touch around the rim. Marcus kept hitting threes. Jimmy dished assists like he was spreading honey on toast. Halftime score. Dreamers 58, Energizers 9. The gym was so quiet at that point. All you could hear was the bounce of the ball, the faint hum, and the gentle chatter of the crowd. By the third quarter, I leaned back in my coaching chair, folded my arms, watched the boys run like a machine. Trap, steal, layup, rebound, outlet, dunk. Dreamers 82, Energizers 12. The game had taken on a rhythm, soft like waves at night. The squeak of sneakers was like lullabies. The scoreboard climbing higher was like counting sheep. And somewhere between the third and fourth quarter, I felt my eyes getting heavy. I rested my head back for just a moment. The players kept playing. The crowd kept yawning. And well, I drifted into my own little dreamland, right there on the bench. When I woke up, the final buzzer had already sounded. Tonight, we drift back to a cold evening in January 2019. The Golden State Warriors were on the road visiting the Denver Nuggets at Ball Arena. The lights were bright, the fans were bundled up, and the air was thin up in Denver's high altitude. But even in that thin air, the Warriors played like they were floating. From the very first possession, Steph Curry came out firing. Step-back threes, catch and shoot, off the dribble. It didn't seem to matter. By halftime, Golden State led 79-49. A 30-point lead after just 2 quarters. The Splash Brothers were raining jumpers like a soft drizzle on a quiet night. Steph finished with 31 points, shooting 8 for 13 from 3. Klay Thompson added 25 points of his own, and Kevin Durant quietly poured in 27 points with 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Denver just couldn't find their rhythm. Nikola Jokic was held to only 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Jamal Murray struggled, shooting just 3 for 12 from the field. The Warriors shot a smooth 60% from the floor and an incredible 53% from beyond the arc. It was one of those nights where everything felt effortless. The Nuggets committed 18 turnovers, leading to 26 easy fast break points for Golden State. And by the end of the third quarter, the game was out of reach. Coach Snooze was already dozing off in his courtside seat, the soft sounds of sneakers squeaking and the distant murmur of the crowd acting like a lullaby. The final score? Golden State 142, Denver 111. A 31-point blowout and another sleepy chapter in the long history of NBA dominance. Sometimes even the best teams get humbled. And on nights like this, the only thing left to do is close your eyes and drift away. We gently float back to March 22nd, 2018. The night the Toronto Raptors hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers, but not just any Cavaliers. This was LeBron's Cavs. Late in his second run with the team, the Raptors came into the game confident. They were leading the Eastern Conference, playing some of their best basketball all season. The Air Canada Centre was packed, fans buzzing, cameras flashing, popcorn softly crackling in the stands. But from the opening tip, Cleveland looked different. LeBron James, calm, methodical, almost surgical. He controlled every possession like a maestro leading an orchestra. By the end of the first quarter, the Cavaliers had already built a 15-point lead. LeBron finished the game with 35 points, 17 assists, and 7 rebounds. He shot 11 for 19 from the field and 12 for 14 from the free throw line. Kevin Love quietly added 23 points and 12 rebounds, while J.R. Smith splashed in 5 three-pointers, finishing with 15. The Cavaliers shot 60% from the field and 51% from beyond the arc. Toronto, on the other hand, struggled to find any rhythm. DeMar DeRozan scored 21 points, but went just 7 for 18 from the floor. Kyle Lowry had 18 points, but was hounded on defense all night long. The Raptors committed 14 turnovers, leading to 19 fast break points for Cleveland. By halftime, the Cavs were up by 26. Coach Snooze sat comfortably courtside, wrapped in a soft blanket, his head gently leaning back, eyes slowly closing to the gentle sound of sneakers gliding on hardwood. The final score? Cleveland 132, Toronto 112. A 20-point blowout. But truthfully, it never even felt that close. Another sleepy night where greatness was on full display, and we just sit back and drift peacefully into dreamland. Sometimes the game is decided before the final buzzer even rings. Tonight was one of those nights. The Phoenix Suns took on the San Antonio Spurs, and from the very first tip-off, it was clear where this one was headed. By halftime, the Suns were already up 68-42. Devin Booker was smooth like warm honey, dropping 28 points on 11 of 15 shooting. Every shot felt like a gentle whisper into the night air. He added 5 rebounds and 4 assists, barely breaking a sweat. Kevin Durant, calm and composed, glided to 24 points on 10 of 13 shooting. Like the moon rising slowly, steady, certain. The Spurs, they struggled to find their rhythm. Victor Wembanyama, young but learning, finished with 12 points, shooting just 4 of 14, with 7 rebounds and 3 blocked shots that looked like little puffs of clouds floating up. The turnovers told the story. San Antonio, 18 turnovers, compared to Phoenix's quiet 7. Each lost possession like a yawn stretching across the arena. Field goal percentages? Phoenix, a dreamy 58% from the field. San Antonio, stuck at 39%. Like trying to wake up too early on a cold morning. The Suns also out-rebounded the Spurs, 48-35. Gently collecting each missed shot like soft feathers falling into a pillow. Foul trouble never really woke up. Both teams stayed calm. Only 15 total fouls in the entire game. Like everyone just wanted to let this one float on by. The final score? Suns 122, Spurs 89. As the crowd filtered out, the lights dimmed. And Coach Snooze, sitting courtside, let out a slow, happy sigh. Another blowout. Another peaceful night. Good night, basketball world. You know, sometimes the game never even gets off the ground. Tonight was one of those easy, quiet nights. The Boston Celtics took on the Detroit Pistons, and from the opening tip, it was like watching a warm blanket slowly roll over the court. By the end of the first quarter, Boston was already ahead, 35-17. The crowd was calm, just enjoying the show. Jason Tatum, smooth like silk sheets on a cool night, finished with 31 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. He shot a gentle 12 for 18 from the field, each shot floating through the air like a feather. Jaylen Brown was right there with him, adding 27 points on 10 for 15 shooting, with 4 assists and 3 steals, moving around the court like a quiet breeze. The Pistons, they tried, but it was one of those nights where nothing wanted to drop. Cade Cunningham finished with 16 points, shooting 6 for 17. Each missed shot like a quiet sigh into the cold air. Turnovers started to pile up. Detroit gave it away 21 times. Boston, only 9. Field goal percentages. Boston shot a warm 57%, while Detroit struggled at 38%. The rebounding battle was quiet too. Boston, 52 rebounds, Detroit, 39. Every rebound just softly collected, like a bedtime story reaching its final page. Foul trouble? Light. Boston only committed 11, Detroit with 13. The referees barely had to raise their voices. And the final score? Boston Celtics 124, Detroit Pistons 88. As the crowd filed out into the cool night, Coach Snooze leaned back in his chair. The arena lights dimmed like a nightlight in a quiet bedroom. Another peaceful blowout. Another sleepy night. Good night, basketball world. You know, sometimes, even when you play your best, the night just has other plans. I remember one of those nights. We were playing against the Los Angeles Lightning. The arena was full, the lights were soft, and the air had that cool little breeze that makes you want to pull the blanket up just a little higher. Now, I played my heart out that night. Felt like everything was flowing smooth. I finished with a nice little triple-double. 22 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, shot 9 for 16 from the floor, was finding my teammates nice and easy, grabbing rebounds like catching little pillows falling out the sky. But still, the Lightning, they were rolling all night long. Their guard, Flash Johnson, he was cooking. Dropped 34 points, shot 12 for 20, added 6 rebounds, 5 assists, moving around like a soft breeze across a still lake. Their big man, Max Thunder, he was a problem too. 26 points, 15 rebounds. Every dunk felt like the rim was yawning. We just couldn't quite keep up. Turned the ball over 18 times while they only had 7. Every turnover felt like counting backwards, real slow. We shot 44% from the field. They shot 57%, like they couldn't miss, even if they closed their eyes. Rebounds, they pulled down 53. We grabbed 42. And it was a clean game, too. 14 fouls for us, 10 for them. When the buzzer finally sounded, the scoreboard read 118 for the Lightning, 92 for us. I smiled, stretched my arms, and thought to myself, sometimes, even on your best nights, you just fall gently into the loss, like falling into a soft bed. That's the game. That's life. Good night, basketball world. You know, sometimes you witness something so special, it almost feels like a dream. I remember that night, the All-Star game back in 2003, Jordan's final year, his last dance under the bright lights. And a young kid named LeBron James, just 18 years old, got his first All-Star invite as a late replacement. It was supposed to be MJ's night, and for the most part, it was. But what happened next, nobody could have predicted. From the tip-off, LeBron came out fearless, like a young lion staring across the court at the king. LeBron finished the game with 31 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 1 big block on Kobe that had the crowd gasping. He shot 13 for 18 from the floor, finding seams, flying through the air like a soft breeze before bedtime. MJ? He still had his magic, too. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 fadeaway that felt like time stood still. Shot 10 for 20, the old jumper still pure as ever. But the East squad just couldn't keep up. LeBron's West team was running wild. Kobe added 27 points. Tim Duncan had 18 points and 14 rebounds. And Shaq, oh, big Shaq, finished with 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 sleepy little blocks. The turnovers were light. East had 15, West only had 7. Every turnover felt like a yawn floating into the night sky. The West shot 61% from the field, just couldn't miss. The East stuck at 46%. Rebounds, West 58, East 41. And when that final buzzer rang, the scoreboard read West 154, East 118. A blowout, but one of those beautiful ones. Respect, smiles, hugs, MJ and LeBron sharing a moment at half court. Sometimes the old king passes the torch without ever saying a word. And I sat there that night on the sideline, just smiling, cozy, watching history softly unfold like a bedtime story. Good night, basketball world. Sometimes the finals don't start off close. Sometimes the blowout happens right away. I remember that night in 2018, Game 1 of the NBA Finals. The Golden State Warriors hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. The lights were bright in Oakland. The crowd was buzzing. But the Warriors came out calm, steady, like a warm breeze blowing across the hardwood. LeBron James, he came to play. Man was a machine that night. 51 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He shot 19 for 32, did everything he could, each bucket like dropping soft pebbles into a quiet lake. But Golden State, they had too much firepower. Kevin Durant led the way, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, shooting 8 for 22, but hitting big shots when they needed them. Steph Curry, moving like a soft breeze off the coast, finished with 29 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 5 for 11 from 3. And Klay Thompson, quiet, smooth, had 24 points on 8 of 16 shooting. Turnovers. Warriors only had 7. Cavs gave it away 11 times. Shooting percentages. Golden State shot 51% from the field, Cleveland at 44%. From deep, Warriors hit 13 threes, Cavs hit 10. Rebounds were close. Warriors 38, Cavs 44. But the difference came down to pace. Flow. Golden State kept control like a bedtime rhythm. And when the clock hit 0, the scoreboard read Warriors 124, Cavaliers 114. It wasn't the biggest blowout on paper, but the way that fourth quarter and overtime played out, you could feel the wind slowly getting taken out of Cleveland's sails. I sat there that night, watching the finals tip off, smiling, letting the warm hum of Oracle Arena carry me right into my dreams. Good night, basketball world. Sometimes a game gets out of hand so quick. All you can do is sit back and let it rock you to sleep. I remember this one clear. Game 6 of the 2008 NBA Finals. Boston Celtics, Los Angeles Lakers. The old rivalry. Green versus gold. East Coast versus West Coast. The Garden was buzzing that night, but underneath that buzz was a calm, a quiet confidence. From the opening tip, Boston was locked in. The Lakers, they never really stood a chance that night. Let's talk numbers. Paul Pierce. The Truth. 17 points. 10 assists, 3 rebounds, steady as ever, guiding his team like a soft lullaby through the night. Kevin Garnett, the heart, the passion. 26 points, 14 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block, moving like a storm that somehow stayed peaceful. Ray Allen, smooth as silk. 26 points. 7 for 9 from 3. every shot like a shooting star across a cozy sky. Even Rajon Rondo joined the party. 21 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, 6 steals, spreading the ball like tucking everyone into bed. The Lakers, Kobe tried. 22 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. But the Celtics defense had him wrapped up like a warm, weighted blanket. The turnovers stacked up. Lakers gave it away 19 times. Celtics only 7. Each turnover like counting sheep. Field goal percentage, Boston shot 49%. The Lakers stuck at 42%. The rebound battle, Boston 48, Lakers 29. And the final score, Boston 131, Lakers 92. A 39-point blowout to win the championship. The crowd roared. The confetti fell like gentle snow. But in my chair, I just leaned back, smiled, and let the hum of celebration slowly rock me into the night. Good night, basketball world. You know, sometimes the stars just align and a blowout becomes beautiful. I remember this one like a warm dream. Christmas Day 2020. Milwaukee Bucks versus Golden State Warriors. The snow falling outside. Families gathered round. But inside that arena, the Bucks were cooking from the very start. Giannis Antetokounmpo, smooth, powerful, but light on his feet like a gentle snowfall. He finished with 15 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. He didn't even have to do much heavy lifting this time. His teammates handled it. Chris Middleton was buttery smooth. 31 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 for 8 from 3. Every shot he took floated like a feather into the hoop. And the rookie, Jordan Nwora, even he got in on the fun. 9 points, 6 rebounds, 1 block. The Warriors, they struggled. Steph Curry tried, but was held to just 19 points, 6 for 17 shooting, 2 for 10 from 3. Turnovers? Warriors gave it up 16 times, Bucks only 8. Field goal percentage? Milwaukee shot a warm 54%. Golden State stuck at 37%. From 3, Bucks hit 20 triples. Warriors only hit 10. Rebounds? Milwaukee pulled down 60 boards. Golden State grabbed just 43. And when that final buzzer rang, the scoreboard read, Milwaukee 138, Golden State 99. A 39-point blowout. But nobody was angry. Just one of those peaceful Christmas blowouts, where folks lean back, rub their bellies, and let the holiday joy carry them into the night. I sat back that night, smiling, cozy, watching the snow fall softly outside the window. Good night, basketball world. The storm just never lets up. I remember this one. The 2016 Western Conference Finals, Game 6, Golden State Warriors versus Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City was up 3-2 in the series, and they had a chance to close it out at home. The crowd was loud, the air was thick, but Golden State, they came in like a soft storm cloud, steady and patient. Klay Thompson, he caught fire that night like I've rarely seen. Quiet at first, then shot after shot after shot, like gentle raindrops landing one after another. Klay finished with 41 points, 11 for 18 from 3, 4 rebounds, 1 steal. Steph Curry, always floating, calm as the evening breeze, finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 6 for 13 from deep. The Thunder fought. Kevin Durant with 29 points, Russell Westbrook with 28, but turnovers started creeping in like quiet footsteps. OKC had 15 turnovers. Golden State only 9. Field goal percentage, Warriors shot 47%. Thunder at 42%. From deep, Warriors knocked down 21 threes. OKC only hit 13. The rebounds were tight. Warriors 45, Thunder 44. But the pace, the rhythm, Golden State controlled it like a soft drumbeat lulling you into sleep. Final score, Warriors 108, Thunder 101. Not the biggest blowout by the numbers, but in the fourth quarter, you could feel the air leave the building. The Thunder couldn't land that final punch, and the Warriors, they were already drifting into the finals. I sat back that night, smiled, and let the quiet hum of Oracle Arena rock me gently right into the night. Good night, basketball world. And that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Snooze Fest with Coach Snooze, where the blowouts are cozy, the stats are soft, and the game always lulls you to sleep. Until next time, rest easy, sleep well, and good night, basketball world.